Good afternoon, everybody. It's 2 weeks since the last video and a few changes on the truck here. I've got the camper shell off. I decided I didn't like the way it fit and I didn't like the way it looked, and I really just don't have a use for it, so I took it off. Just a few things going on with the truck besides the cosmetic appearance there. I did crawl under that thing and remove the starter since the last video. The last video I was commenting that I'd burned up the starter after the third start. Well, it turns out that wasn't quite true, because what had happened was when I was putting the torque converter nuts on, I stuffed a rag in there to keep it from falling down inside if I dropped one of them. And well, unfortunately, I didn't get all the rags out and it wrapped up in the starter. So once I removed the starter and pulled the rags out of it, it looked like a rat's nest inside there after I chewed on them for a little bit. But put it back in, everything's all good and fine. Again, took the camper shell off. A few things going on. The reason I made a comment last time about the front end alignment and upper ball joints, yes, the upper ball joints had been replaced, but the reason that the tires are splayed out at the front end is because the person who owned it tried to do a torsion bar lift, and actually they did do a torsion bar lift, but they didn't adjust the camber after they did that, and that's why it was all splayed out of shape like that. The other downside on this truck is, looking at the back tire there, they also did a lift on the back, so I've got to put a standard shackle on the back, drop that down about 2 inches, and then on the front end it looks like I'm going to have to take and find some of the original torsion bar keys and replace them as well, because I can't adjust it any lower than it is sitting, and I'm just not a jacked up truck kind of guy. Okay, so long story short, been working on the exhaust because the truck does drive. I've taken it out several times. Just kind of walking around back here to show you the exhaust real quick, and you can kind of see I've had a couple of different ideas. The exhaust that came with it was a 2.5 inch, I don't know, glass pack for a better word of it, that was too loud. I had this muffler from another truck I'm working on, and it fits in there nicely. I trimmed down that tailpipe piece where you see the flange there behind the catalytic converter. Shortened it down a little bit, and I'm going to hang that. I got to build a muffler bracket, and then we're just going to go with a down pipe right there. I believe that'll get me past inspection this week, and I'll start the truck here in just a minute. But the truck does have a problem with the transmission. If that is the replacement transmission, and the one you see in the photo over there, or the video, is the original, well, they both have the same problem. There's no overdrive in them. Totally stripped out as near as I can tell. But I did drive it, and I can drive it as long as I kick the switch to keep it out of overdrive. So that's where we're sitting on the truck. I've got a little bit of front end work. Like I say, I got to replace that torsion bar key. You can kind of see the housing where that's at. If you look at the end of the torsion bar there, you can change the keys in those and actually jack the front end of the truck up using torsion bars. It throws your camber out of whack, so you got to put a camber adjustment in there as well. It's just a bad idea because your shocks are going to have to be replaced. Let me show you the back shock here real quick, just to show you what I'm talking about, since we're right here with the shackle that they put in, which you can see back in the back center of the picture there. That added at least 2 inches of height. Now, I come over to the shock. The shock shouldn't be separated like that. The shock should overlap when the truck's at rest. And so, to me, you're overextending your shocks. You're wishing you'd have replaced them. The ride's rough and unstable because you're sitting up higher than the truck's designed to sit. And I guess if you really want to look that way, that's fine. But this is also a 3-liter V6. So if you put big tires on there, you're totally wasting your time. So this truck's going back to factory height. Get as close to a factory muffler as possible. And the last thing I'm going to do before I shut the video off is I'm going to start this thing up. That's a nice factory sounding muffler there, and that's what I want. Once I get the truck inspected tomorrow, I'm going to finish up the suspension work, and then Thursday I should be getting my replacement transmission. I bought another one from a salvage yard, and just hoping that it's got a better lifespan than the one I put in it already, because that was a total waste of time. I have gotten to drive a truck about 20 miles though. I did take a minute, just as a side note. Sorry about the bad pictures. I'm walking around a very small shop here. As a side note, I tried something. According to the box you're looking at, let's set that up here. Lube guard. Supposed to fix it, right? Well, I ain't convinced yet. It says it fixes shifting problems and reduces slippage. Now, it does say on the back, I'm being fair here, it does say on the back that it cannot fix mechanical damage, and it is correct. I can't put it in overdrive and expect this to fix it. And honestly, just as a real quick, it's not as bad as I just made it sound note, this stuff actually did help the shifting. I can actually shift in and out of 1, 2, and 3 gears, and it'll actually downshift. It only slips a little bit now going into third. Again, I can't put it in overdrive because I don't think the overdrive is actually in existence. I think it got burned out probably from somebody pulling a heavy camper shell from the look of that hitch they put on the back. So there we are. We got front end work to do. We got a rear shackle to change out. I got to finish exhaust today, take it in for inspection, and then on Tuesday, hopefully have this thing licensed and drivable. Wednesday, I'm going to take the transmission out, and Thursday, I'm hoping for a new transmission to start putting it back in, and maybe Friday, I'll be able to drive this thing as a normal truck. So we'll see how it works out. I won't have all that work done, but hopefully by Friday with the transmission installed, if it does show up Thursday, I can say, yep, this is a daily driver now. Thank you.